Hi, my name is Joseph, and I've been thinking about Mega Man NT Warrior and Mega Man Battle Network. So, since I just finished recently watching the anime, the first season, and I also just beat Mega Man Battle Network, an element that I really appreciated about the game and the show as well, it's just, I don't want to say subverting expectations, but just the way that it goes against the grain a little bit. So, we'll focus on Mega Man Battle Network, the game first, and I'm referring to Mayu as the character. I love how Mayu, despite being the love interest of the protagonist Lan, she's still a individual herself. Sure, she could be fleshed out, but I think an important thing to keep in mind, important context to keep in mind, is the fact that Mega Man Battle Network, it's a handheld game. It was for the Game Boy Advance. Since it wasn't a console game, I think Capcom could have used that as an excuse to just characterize the main characters or just characterize the villains and the Hakari family. So the dad, Lan, Mega Man, and even just ignore the mom a little bit. And I know I started with Mayu, but even with the mom, she could definitely be fleshed out, but she's not your traditional quote unquote mother or the traditional mother. I wouldn't say. I love how during the end of the game, so spoilers for Battle Network, during the climax of the first game, she speaks with her husband, and the husband, Dr. Hakari, he tells her, I'm sorry for not being home more often. He's been working too much. And she actually tells him, well, that's true, but I understand. You're just working, right? I really love that, the fact that they're supporting one another. Obviously, I think the mom would really love for the husband, for the dad to be home as well, the wife to be hanging out, to be interacting with her husband. But she recognizes that he has responsibilities at his workplace, right? And I also really love how the dad, he recognizes that he has a social responsibility to his wife. Yes, it's great and fine that he has his professional work life, but he also has his relationships at home to keep in mind. Not just with his wife, but obviously with his son or sons. Again, there'll be spoilers in this video, but I won't specify beyond that in case you don't know what I'm referring to. I was really cool. I love how at the end of the game, the first game, Lan's father and his mom, they're just calling each other honey. And you could just tell that they really support one another. There is love between each other. And it may sound really silly that I'm focusing on this aspect for a handheld game, but again, it's an element that Capcom did not need to include. And going back to Mayu, again, I just really enjoy the fact that she was willing to utilize her agency and be active within the story. She saw Lan going into the secret World 3 or Dr. Wily's lab at the end. She could have followed him right away, but she deduced that he was up to something positive and he would need assistance. And so she went ahead and followed her gut instinct. As someone who's read Stephen King's novels, sometimes I think it's really quite important to just listen to your gut instinct. It's always important to think about what you're going to do, but that instinct, it's coming from someplace, and sometimes it's coming from your past experience, right? Your history, and your history is thinking about the current situation and what you should be doing, fight or flight. So even though it's a immediate emotional response, I would argue that most of the time, the older one gets, when there is a fight or flight response, it's also taking into account the history of whatever the situation is at hand. So she made the choice to listen to her instinct, and lo and behold, it ended up helping out. And I just think that's really cool. Now I think it's safe to move on to the anime. What aspects is the anime going against the grain? How is it subverting expectations? But with the side cast, I really love. So let's focus on the gender first, since that's where we started. Besides from the video game, Mayu and Lan's mother, Lan's mother. And the anime, they kind of regulate the agency away from Lan's mother and Mayu, and more. Well, Mayu does have some agency, but I'm not gonna lie, I think I do prefer her game version over the anime version. But I do like both. I do like both. But when it comes to the mother aspect, I think that was regulated to, or not the mother aspect, excuse me. When it comes to what the role that the mom was playing in the game, that was regulated over to Miss Yuri, I believe her name is called, the teacher, Lan's teacher. It's either Miss Yuri or Miss Mari. One of those. Oh, Miss Mari. Miss Yuri is her twin sister's name from the first game. Excuse me. It was cool how she was supportive of Lan, though it was a little bit in the realm of stereotypicalness, right? Since she's a teacher, a female teacher, she's supporting her students. But whenever she did express her mind here and there, so again, her agency was present. Again, keep in mind it is a kids show, so we're going to be focusing more on the younger cast, and especially on Mega Man and Lan. But beyond that, we also had Sao's character and Miyu's character. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, Miyu. but also two net battlers. So in case you guys don't know, net battlers, they're kind of like the CIA slash secret agent group for the world of Mega Man Battle Network. They're essentially top-notch operators who help with solving issues within society and within the law as well sometimes. And we have two net battlers. Well, in the show we actually have three, but two of them are women, and one of them is a man named Mel. So we have Sao Mayu, Sao with Woodman, Mayu with Skullman. Oh, excuse me, I just realized that because I recently did my Mega Man Battle Network review, and I stated that I don't believe Miyu was present. That was incorrect. Oh no, only because, well, I love how in the game, although the side characters are just that side characters, I think this is a good segue to talk about the anime. I love how they gave those characters more to do, more characterization. Again, since they are side characters, it's not like they're part of the main story completely, but when they are part of the story, they're not just in the side or they're not just bystanders. They're actually participating, and they're actually part of sometimes the B storyline or the C storyline, where if they don't finish what they're doing, then the main story won't be completed. And I really did appreciate that. That's why when I was talking about my review for the first game, I couldn't recall if Miyu was present, because I'm not going to lie, Mesa, Miyu, and Sao, they don't really have a narrative role in the first game. And I love how they really fleshed that out within the second game. Maybe the first season combines the first two games. I have to look into that. So maybe that's why they didn't have as much as a role, that they being Mesa, Mayu, and Sao in the first game, and maybe they'll play much more of a role, an active role in the story in the second game. But even if that's true, if the first season is based on the first and second game, the fact that they made the choice to adapt the first two games of the first season, I think that's very telling. Again, it's Capcom recognizing maybe they didn't do it on purpose, right? Let's go ahead and have these characters that typically are not present in kids' properties or in anime shows. They're just trying to tell a story, right? The first Mega Man Battle Network, although I do like the story, I would argue it is a little bit bare bones. It just sets everything up really nicely. So again, those were elements that I really did appreciate. And also, to continue talking about subverting expectations, I really love the portrayal, the depiction of Mesa's character. So I think one could argue that he's not quote unquote chubby or heavy. Well, he is heavy set, but I think he's more heavy set because he's a buff individual. He does have muscles, but not in the traditional sense. So Mesa's character, he's really into calcium and he's really into fish. His superhero persona is Commander Beef. And I'm curious if he's present in the second game. I don't think he is. I don't recall that. I'm thinking about the anime. But I'm not going to lie, when Commander Beef first made his appearance, I did think to myself, wow, this really is a kid's anime. This really is a kid's show, right? Commander Beef. I mean, his catchphrase is beef. Beef. And then he comes into the screen. Beef. And he comes outside the screen, right? It's just so silly. But despite that silliness, I think it's really cool. Where, again, even if he is buff, he's not the traditional kind of buff. He doesn't look like Mank Chomp or Arnold's, I always mispronounce his last name, but from the Terminator. He looks more like from Mayona, the buff. I haven't seen that movie, but I am aware of the character, but not the character's name. But the male character from Mayona. He's heavy set, but not chubby. He is strong, but a different kind of strength. And I think that's what's going on with Mesa. Again, he's not traditionally masculine. He's not traditionally athletic. And I think that's really cool. And at first, I thought it was just going to be played for laughs and to be comical. But what's really cool about the first anime is how Lan actually really respects and appreciates, Commander Beef. He does make fun of, rather, he laughs with Mesa. I'm not going to say he makes fun of Mesa. He doesn't laugh at Mesa. He laughs with Mesa. But when it comes to Commander Beef, Lan actually respects him and Sharkman. And again, if one was to look up a picture of Commander Beef, he does not look like Batman, Superman. The closest he probably looks like is maybe the Hulk without the greenness. But even then, again, the stature, it's not present. And that's just an element I really do appreciate. Maybe I'm projecting a little bit just because I'm not 100% fit, right? So maybe that's why I like that. Because how often do we get a portrayal of a heavy-set hero who's also not made fun of, but celebrated and looked up upon as a role model? So, again, it's really awesome how these games and show that seems to be for a younger audience, there's something for an older audience as well. And going back to the game, Even though the story was bare bones, there was an emotional component within it. And that emotional component, it does make the player feel something. Um, Maybe even tear up a little bit of one is really engaged with the story. I really do appreciate the fact that the Mega Man Battle Network collection came out. I'm more than likely probably gonna make another video. The two games series that I really loved growing up, and when the PS4, Xbox One started releasing ports and remasters and everything like that, I was always hoping for Mass Effect. Always hoping for Mass Effect. I think when Arkham Asylum or Arkham Knight was ported over, or excuse me, Asylum and I forgot which specific game, Bioshock. At the beginning of the PS4, Xbox One's life cycle, I got excited, hoping, oh right, Mass Effect, it's gonna come to our modern consoles. I've already played it like 9 times. I don't mind replaying it another 9 times on PS4 or my Xbox One. I got it for my PS4. The other collection that I was really always hoping for and really excited when we finally got it, I would argue that Mega Mass Effect, although fans were asking for it when it was finally announced, it was a pleasant surprise. We were always asking for it, but we're never sure we'll be getting it. Same thing with Mega Man Battle Network. Although Capcom was doing these legacy collections, first with the original Mega Man, then the second set of Mega Man games, then Mega Man.EXE, and then Mega Man Zero. By the time we got to Mega Man Zero, I started getting personally excited. Oh my gosh, we're moving on to the Game Boy Advance games, and then we have Mega Man Zero. What's the likelihood that we're going to get Battle Network as well? When it was finally announced with that music, that song, the I know I sound silly singing it, but I love that song. It's a really cool song. And I just realized that's another element I did not mention in my review for Battle Network. Despite it being 8-bit, the music is so fun. It really sets up the boss battles, the traversing, the traveling, and then of course the theme. I mean, if I didn't like it that much, I wouldn't have done that stupid little do, right? But yeah, so again, I'm really happy to have experienced both the anime, I was going to say re-experienced, but I forget that. I've never played the first Mega Man Battle Network. It was my first time. I'll be re-experiencing it with 2, 3, 4, and a little bit of 5, and I don't think I've ever played 6. But I'm really happy to have been given this opportunity. Well, I act like I did something. Excuse me. I'm really happy that Capcom made the choice to bring these classics on over to modern consoles. And yes, I do think Battle Network is a classic. And I hope, fingers crossed, that we'll get Mega Man Legends. It's a series that I never personally played, but I am aware of how beloved it is. If you watched this, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Did you watch the anime? If you did, for Mega Man Battle Network, NT Warrior and Access, if you did, please do let me know. Did you watch it growing up? Did you watch it via Capcom? It's available until September on YouTube. Did you play Battle Network? If you did, what's your opinions about that? Do you like how the first season seems to be adapted from the first game? Would you have preferred to have been their own iteration, maybe their own unique story, separate from the video game? Again, thanks so much for listening. I appreciate it. Have a great day, and take care. I'm a little bit awkward because I wanted to make a Jack-in joke, but I have to be a little bit careful because for those of you who are Mega Man fans, you know Jack-in, Mega Man, right? It's what the operators do to send the net navis into the computer networks. But I couldn't think of a natural way to plug that in. But I wanted to, but I wasn't aware of my pauses. Oh no, I'm coming off as a little bit awkward, so that's why I wanted to explain what I was thinking about. Since I already mentioned it, screw it. Have a great day, and make sure you jack in into positive things and utilize your time advantageously. Everyone wants to. It's always a great time to enjoy yourself as well, right? I'm not going to lie. After this, I'm seriously debating if I should start Battle Network 2 or maybe play another game. I looked over there because that's where my console is at. Have a great day and take care, everyone. Again, thank you for listening, and thank you for your patience as always.